everybody, this is called Reptiles. Today I'm going to be talking about 10 products I think every reptile owner should have. So some of these products are going to be things you can use for snakes or just other reptiles in general. But the first thing is a snake hook. And of course this one is obviously for a snake. Even if your snake is nice, it's always a good idea to have a snake hook around. Even when you're just going into the enclosure to pick them up, it's always good to just tap them on their back with a snake hook to let them know, hey, I'm here, I'm going to pick you up, I'm going to hold you. You don't know, your snake might be hungry or just in a bad mood that day. So it's a really good idea to have a snake hook around. And on the note of snake hooks, something that can also help, which is just a plastic lid. And you can use this to guard your hand away from the snake's head if it's a particularly feisty snake. You can just push the head of the snake away with this and pick it up from behind, guarding your hand. So the next product is a heat gun or a temp gun or a temperature gun. It goes by different names. It also goes by infrared thermometer. And this is nice because with the little plastic stick-on thermometers obviously stick to the side of the enclosure, either high or low. And that's usually not where your snake is exactly going to be at. So it's really nice to read exactly where your snake is at. So this shows a little red dot, and it just tells you exactly where the temperature is. My hand is 89 degrees, and you can either change it to Celsius and Fahrenheit by pressing this button here, or you can turn off the laser, or you can turn off the light. So there's a lot of different things you can do with this. This particular one is $15, but you can get like really high quality ones, or you can get like $5 ones from the Home Depot or whatever. And the really good thing about this too is when you have under tank heaters, you can just put it on the heat mat so you can check exactly what the temperature is, because even if the thermostat, which I'll get into later, says it's a certain temperature, it's usually on the outside of the enclosure, so where your snake is actually going to be is going to be a few degrees cooler. So it's really nice to just check the temperature of it. Now this one is really small, and you can see it in my hand. I'm holding a penny, but these are so helpful in your reptile's enclosure. You will use these pre-1982 pennies in your reptile's water dish, and what makes these pennies so special is that pennies before 1982 were made with about 80% copper and 20% zinc. I'm probably not getting it the exact measurements, but it was around that number. And then after 1982 they switched it. So copper breaks down the bacteria level in your reptile's water dish, causing it to not be able to grow mold and fungus. And what's really cool about this is that if it's in the water dish and your snake or your reptile has a urate or goes to the bathroom in that water, it will turn the water blue. So even if you don't physically see the urate, you'll know that it's time to change out the water when you see blue water. So this one doesn't apply to if you're keeping your snakes in tubs, but if you're keeping your snakes or other reptiles in a glass tank, then I'd recommend you get a package of screen clips. Now this particular one is by Zilla, but there's other companies that make them too. So you would clip it on the side and the top so that it does not come off. This kind of gives a little illustration on the back. These are made for enclosures that lid just sits on, which I recommend if you have a snake not getting that style of enclosure lid, because they can just push the top off and escape. So this is another one that is absolutely essential, and it is a hygrometer. This one is by ThermPro, and it's the one I recommend. You can also get them by the big, reptile brands like Reptizoo and ZooMed and Zilla and things like that. But those don't tend to be as accurate as these that are made for human use. And they also have a sticky back which you put to the side of the reptile's enclosure. And these can actually really hurt your snakes. It can also hurt, different types of reptiles, but specifically snakes, because their scales often get stuck to this, and it can really hurt them. It can actually rip their scales. So this one I think is absolutely essential when you own snakes, and that is a feeding tong. This particular one is by ZooMed, and it comes in a pack of 2. I just don't have the other one here right now. But you use this to hold the rodent to dangle in front of your snake. And the reason it's so essential is because almost all of us don't want to get bit by our snakes. So you would use this to hold the rodent, and it keeps your hand protected from getting bit. Now, if you own larger snakes like Burmese pythons, or reticulated pythons, or anacondas, or things like that, you can get the longer style feeding tongs, which are also available. Using these also makes it very easy to make the rodent look real. So if you're switching from live to frozen thawed, you can hold the middle of the rodent, like the body, and make it look like it's running around, which oftentimes makes the snake more enticed to eat it because it looks real. Not to mention they're extremely cheap. So these are absolutely essential to have. So this one is the last essential product which you absolutely cannot skimp on, and then we'll get into products for reptiles in general. But this will be a thermostat, especially if you're using this for under-tank heaters, things for like a rack system or whatever. A thermostat is absolutely essential. You cannot skimp on this. It can save your snake's life, and I'm not like being dramatic. These are essential. Oftentimes heat mats will overheat and it can actually cook your snake. So it is so important to have a thermostat. This particular one is for plants, but it works amazing for reptiles and their heat mats and ceramic heat emitters and things like that. But yes, get a thermostat if you own any kind of rep. And by the way, I'll put a link to all the products I mentioned in the description below so you can check them out. So the two ones I'm about to mention are actually for cleaning, and the first one being Chlorhexidine. This is one of the best reptile cleaners you can get. It has no odor, it is completely safe. You can even use it if needed while the snake's in their enclosure. Veterinarians even use this in their labs to clean down the equipment. You cannot use this in its undiluted form. You have to dilute it down. So if you're using a gallon of water, you would use 30 mils or 2 tablespoons. And obviously, if you're using half a gallon, you would use 15 mils or 1 tablespoon. I actually have mine in a half a gallon sweet tea container, but you can use any container like that. So this one I'm about to mention is actually kind of like an extra one because I was only planning on doing 10 products, but this is just like a little broom type sweeper thing. There are reptile brands you can get of this. This is just like a $2 one I got from Walmart, but it's really helpful just to sweep your substrate up when you're cleaning. And now these last two are things for like lizards and animals like that, and the first being supplements. Now, supplements are essential to your lizard's health. There are so many types of supplements you can get. There are ones with D3 calcium supplements. There are ones without it. There are multivitamin supplements. I got this one for $1, and I got this one for like 80 cents on Amazon. So very cheap, and they're great for your reptile's health. If you have an animal like a leopard gecko or a fat-tailed gecko that doesn't get UVB because they're nocturnal, a calcium supplement with D3 is the way to go because it supplements their UVB. And for animals like bearded dragons who already get their UVB from their light, you would use a calcium supplement without D3 because, believe it or not, they can actually overdose in D3 and it can kill your reptile. And last is UVB, specifically a linear UVB light. And now that means a light like this. This is just the dome. You would have to get a separate light to go in it. But these are great for bearded dragons and stuff like that because a dome light like these cannot supply enough UVB that they need because it's just one area and they're moving around their enclosure. So it's a very good idea to have a linear UVB for their light source. Now lastly, before you go, I wanted to give an update on my ball python Rob, who I talked about in my previous videos about RI's scale rot and how to give an injection. So after we filmed that video, his health started to decline rapidly. So we took him back to the vet and they gave him another antibiotic, and that antibiotic didn't work. And he was just looking worse and worse. His stomach was completely sucked in because he was so dehydrated and hungry. So because of that, we had to assist feed him a small mouse every 4 days, around 4 days. And that definitely helped. He hardly had the strength to hold up his head, and we really thought he was going to die. We prayed so much, and I literally just cried one night because I just thought he was going to die. So I was just praying and praying, and I praise God because he led us to another wonderful vet that gave him another antibiotic and took him in, gave him blood work, did all this stuff, and just praise God because he's doing so much better now. He's got more energy to move around. He just took, about a week ago, his first meal by himself, but he is just doing so much better. I plan on feeding him tonight, so there will probably be a feeding video uploaded. YouTube probably won't like it because, if you don't know, YouTube has a thing about feeding videos. They always, flag them and delete them. But I'm doing it anyways because people like watching snakes eat normally. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye! So, I feel like there was something else. I have mine in a half-a-gallon sweet tea container. And if you have a bigger container than a gallon, just like wicked. Just specifically linear. How do you write that? So definitely important to take into consideration. Oh wait, I'm looking at you. That's gonna look weird on the camera. I'm looking at your face.
Right here.
Wait, I'm gonna restart. But I'll link. I can't talk today. Can't talk any day. Where did I leave off at? Or in the descriptions below. I'm saying it again.
Description below.
For $2. No, I got a lot of an easy way to. But I just don't think it's. No, I don't know. Like Reptiles. And on that note, it's. No, I don't want to say anything about that. So, not to mention that these are also very inaccurate. I personally did a test with a couple different big name. I don't know why I'm laughing. And when your snake goes to the bathroom. No, but sadly a lot of us do. No, that doesn't sound right. But wait, there's something else I'm gonna. So before I get a screen clip, screen clip, causing it to not be able to. So the reason why you use a penny. No, wait, I didn't. Yeah, those little plastic stick-on things. They stick to the area. It sticks to the area. What was the next one? You don't know, your snake might be in a hungry mood. I'd be in a hungry mood.
Bye.